When the weary, half-starved, ill-clad Confederate soldiers were returning to their homes, Uncle Jacob and Uncle Hayne did not return. Uncle Jacob had been killed at Weldon Railroad. But what had become of Uncle Hayne? Days, weeks, and months passed, and there was no news. One day, Grandmother, while reading to the children, discovered a picture of a mother greeting her son. "Why does the mother look so happy?" eagerly inquired the children. "Because her son has returned from the war," answered Grandmother, "and I too would be the happiest mother alive if Hayne would only return." Presently the front gate was heard to swing on its hinges, and there was her boy, hastening to be clasped in the arms of his mother. Great was the rejoicing that day in the old homestead. Hugh Clayton Color.
Hayne Color was captured in Town Creek, North Carolina in the fall of Fort Fisher. He and the other prisoners were then shipped to Point Lookout Prison in Maryland.
Uncle Hayne was appointed by the commandant of the prison camp to keep the records and assist in paroling the prisoners.
And the reason that he was late coming home was they made him the registrar or something like that of all the soldiers, while he was a prisoner. And so therefore he couldn't leave till everybody left. He was the last one to go.
When Uncle Hayne arrived at the old homestead, he was haggard and worn from the tramp of many a mile.
See, they had to walk because all the railroads were torn up. They had no transportation, so they really had to walk all the way home.
Sara Elizabeth married 2 more times after the war. Her second husband only lived a short time after they were married. Her third husband brought with him into their family a grown daughter who was not happy with the idea of a stepmother taking her mother's place.
It was hard to persuade me to attend the wedding, but love for my father and loyalty to him prevailed, and I went to see one whom I had never met take my mother's place, as I thought. When I was received by her with such a loving, gracious welcome, I fell under the influence of her charming and winning personality and made a complete surrender and loved her. Mother possessed the highest type of Christian character, and I never heard an unrefined expression fall from her lips. I lived with Father and Mother 5 months and then married. Those were 5 happy months spent in Mother's dear old home. Mother looked well to the ways of her household and was a lovely homemaker. A bountiful and well-appointed table for her family and friends was widely known. Hers was an ideal home. I loved her in life, and I love and revere her memory, which is very sweet to her stepdaughter. Carrie Barrett Rush.
In January 1877, Sara Elizabeth Inabnet Color Barrett was having dinner with her husband, daughter, and son-in-law when she suffered a fatal stroke. James Michael Moss, who withdrew from the Citadel at 16 years old to join the Confederate Army, fought alongside a boyhood friend of his.
My grandfather was James Michael Moss. His best friend was Eli Riley, who lived right across the Edisto River on the other side, and they didn't go to school together, but they went to the Citadel together when they were 16 years old. And the whole class went into the service, in the Confederate service, and I guess grandfather and Eli went together. When the war ended, they were near Goldsboro, North Carolina, and Eli was sick, and he couldn't come home, and he couldn't walk home. My grandfather walked home, and the story is that he found an old mule and a makeshift wagon, a one-horse wagon, put a mattress in it, and he went back up to Goldsboro and picked up Eli and brought him home. So that's friendship for you.
James Michael Moss married Margaret Ann Holman. James and Margaret Ann moved into the Holman family home and eventually bought much of the surrounding land.